like that's the standard. There's really nowhere else to go, and everybody's just going to tune you out, right? If you never raise your voice and all of a sudden somebody hears you doing that, right, that creates a ton of impact,
Hmm.
right? And so I'd always been the guy that came out onto the field, was yelling, bumping folks around, just kind of make that energy pervasive. Hey, we're at practice. This is going to suck. My excitement hopefully bleeds off on you, right? We're going to try to make this thing a little bit better, with the shared suffering. If you do that as a platoon commander, now all of a sudden everybody's popping around. Guys probably aren't thinking where they want to think. You're not really considering the plan, the temporal aspects, like you were saying. Hey, what are my conditions set to be able to move on to this thing? If all we're thinking about is, you know, rip, kill, kick that door, then we're probably going to miss something. We're not going to be as effective. There's going to be a lot of, yeah, I think adjustments that are going to be required because emotions are running so high. So that's a very, very long-winded way of telling you, yes, that was a big learning curve for me
Yeah.
to get, coming into being a military officer.
One of the ways that the SEAL teams conceptualizes this role of the officer on the tactical side for young junior officers, and the way it was conceptualized to me is that we are battlefield concierge. So
Oh,
we are the ones taking in all the information behind the scenes, and then working behind the scenes to set things in place in front of where our guys are eating, and so in such a way that it is seamless and they don't even see it. It's just unfolding, naturally to them. You know, if you're there's obviously a ton of value in being the charismatic leader in terms of getting buy-in to what you're trying to achieve, but there's a difference between being like emotional and being charismatic. And I don't think it's not a good default behavior for a leader, whether you're in the military or not, to be that like emotionally charged up person. Leave that to your, in the case of the military, leave that to your E5s and E6s. Let
yeah.
let that let them charge the boys up, because they're the ones out front eating. They need that, like that emotional charge to continue working and suffering. But if you're charged up, then everyone feeds off that energy. So
Yeah, and there's no one, setting up the next course like you were saying, making sure that the
yeah,
boys are just seamlessly being
yeah.
able to
It
roll through.
it takes you out, like cognitively allowing yourself to be charged up or fabricating that you're charged up. But either way, it still takes you out of that headspace that you need to be able to zoom out and think multiple steps ahead, so that
Yeah.
you're setting your team up for success in the future. So